Oh, it already started, Phil.
So-
oh, fuck. Am I? Yeah, I'm recording too.
Were
So
you recording
Macbeth.
the other times?
Yeah. And I've, oh, yeah. I've
Multiple
stopped it.
windows. You're just recording 3 times in a row.
As you guys
You can
know,
do it
this
with the
is
M1.
cursed, this play. Only for those who perform it in theater, so who gives a fuck? That's why I'm
But
doing this
technically
without
they
a
were on-
mask.
They were on a soundstage.
Because
I was really excited
have a death
for
sentence.
Macbeth.
What did you? Okay,
I was
here's
too.
Here's a question.
I was too.
And I will say that it caught me off guard. About 10 minutes
Yeah.
of the start of it. But what did you expect it to be?
I wanted exactly what it was, but stuff I didn't have to translate in
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that just threw me off so much that I quit.
Okay.
Oh, so you started? I thought you
stu-
didn't. I thought
yeah.
you didn't even try.
I wanted to keep that for the show.
Because I wanted to quit. Because I wanted to
I
quit.
was done.
And it was like, so I was expecting the exact same thing of like, okay, all of these people at the top, like Denzel is gonna Denzelify Macbeth. This is gonna be awesome. And then like 2 minutes in, I'm like, Jason Bateman face. I don't know what I expected. Like I was like, okay, they're doing like exactly it. It's just cut down and sped up and more stylized, and it's all great. But I was like, fuck this.
I sat down with the wife, and we were excited to watch this new Denzel flick.
Oh, she wanted to
Tragedy
see
of Macbeth.
She wanted to see Denzel.
She loves
Coen
Denzel.
brothers,
She
though,
doesn't.
too.
Who wouldn't?
Cohen, technically, Cohen brother.
yeah. But I was excited for that too.
Who wouldn't get on their knees for Denzel? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. You know what? What black guy would I fuck? I don't know if I'd fuck
Okay,
Denzel.
so anyway,
I wouldn't
we
fuck
sat
Michael B.
down
Jordan.
for
He's too
this.
muscular.
No.
Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, fuck.
No.
You were gonna say Terry Crews. weren't you?
No. The guy from Kang.
Just cut it all out.
The guy who played Kang. That guy's got a nice body, and I feel like he'd
Big
be
lips.
really nice and tender.
Big
Jonathan
lips.
Majors.
He'd be tender.
Big lips.
Stop saying that. Yelling out Fago, saying he has big lips, you racist bastard.
God, we are gonna so get canceled.
So we sat down and it started, and we're like, okay, it's a square, stupid
The 4:3
IMAX
ratio.
or
That was
something,
whatever.
whatever.
4:3 ratio was
Did you
hard to
not
get
see
used to.
any trailers before?
I chose not to.
You know what? I
Wow.
saw trailers and I still was surprised by the 4:3 ratio. I'm like, I didn't expect it was going to be
I
that for
saw
the
it
whole
and
movie.
I was kind of like, this is one of those movies, and weirdly I saw passing and was strangely on board, even though I hate the 4:3 ratio with it. I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, it's doing its thing, but those are the artistic decisions it's going to make. It's not going to do the extra step and then do exact Shakespearean language and then...
So we're sitting there, and it starts, and it's like, hot the chicken nuggets and descend
Is that how you guys
from
started talking
the
to each other?
scene of the life, and we're just...
foul or
Pass
fair
me
day, I've
thine
not
whopper,
seen.
wench.
It's like, okay, I have to try to translate this in my head as it's going, and I just can't enjoy. It's like me reading subtitles because my brain's a little slow, and I just can't do it.
A little slow.
Give me an audio dub of this shit, okay? But I'm like,
See,
okay,
he's so slow he didn't get that
okay,
joke.
I'll try, and
Here, I'll
then
try it again.
we get to the
A
witch.
little slow.
We get to the witch with the stupid
Witches.
thumb or
There's
whatever it
fucking
is.
3 of them.
The Weird Sisters.
That's when we were like, I looked at the wife, I'm like,
Catherine
I can't
Hunter.
do it. And she's like,
Fantastic.
neither can I. I don't want it. Then we just turn it off.
I was ready, yeah, 2
felt
minutes
bad.
in. 2 minutes in, I was
What was I
like,
going to call you? Oh, you
this is going to be a challenge.
troglodytes.
I'm a failure. That's
So what do you think, Rob?
I started off, and I remember parts of the play. Don't remember all of it.
I studied it in high school.
Yeah, I remember parts of
Wrote
it,
an
and I
essay.
remember the parts that I liked.
Yeah.
So
The lines, every time they'd say a famous line,
well,
you're like,
the lines. I love the parts with the witches. I remember enjoying them at school. I
Yeah.
love the final fight with Macduff because I know that he gets beheaded.
Yeah.
I wanted to see.
Macbeth?
yeah.
Yeah, Macduff and Macbeth.
I don't know the stories.
Oh, you don't? Oh, well, that's
what?
why.
They, I want to see Brendan Gleeson as King Duncan. So there was some stuff I
Who
wanted
doesn't
to
do
see,
shit?
right? But he doesn't do shit in the story either, right? Like in the original play.
But it's like they could have, like, something.
But like there, so I wanted to watch it just to see these actors in these roles. But similar to Philip, when it started off, I found the setup because it's like all Shakespeare plays. It's a big setup. He gets all these things in motion and then it all goes to shit, right? I did not like Denzel Washington's the whole first half of his performance. I felt like he was Denzeling Shakespeare.
And you did or did not like that?
I did not like it. When he starts getting more emotive, because I feel like
when
there's
he
a
gets
lot
more-
of emotion.
that's my favorite scene.
The
When he
one
get-
scene where I've always seen him be really when I've seen the character Macbeth be emotional is when he's wrestling with himself about killing Duncan. It's when Phil wouldn't have gotten that far, but it's when he's in his own house and he's walking by and he's like, I can't remember any of the fucking speech that he uses, but he's effectively trying to tell himself to amp himself up to do it. Then his wife comes along. And his wife says to him, like,
Don't be a coward.
Yeah, like stick your courage to the scratching post, or I can't remember that line off the top of my head, but
To the hitching post.
it's a great scene, but it should have more energy. And then same with Frances McDormand. I'm like, where is the energy she's supposed to have with this character? She does not come off as evil, and the whole time I'm watching it, especially in that first soliloquy she has, I'm like, dude, this should have been Tilda Swinton. Because Tilda Swinton looks evil.
But, Tilda Swinton is not the director's wife.
That's exactly what it is.
And I think Frances McDormand, when I heard that she was playing Lady Macbeth, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly
She's
it.
fine. But that was the first part of it felt fine. But when it starts to get going and Macbeth starts going insane and shit, I'm like, okay, now I'm enjoying where this is going. The three sisters show up. The scene, because I'm sure you guys might have seen before even the fucking Disney stuff they've done with Macbeth.
I did not.
Whenever you see these three witches, they're usually always in front of a cauldron, which is why we have the boil,
Hocus
toil,
Pocus.
and trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus, the three witches from Hocus Pocus that fuck up Macbeth. The way they did it in this movie was so smart, because it's like Denzel Washington is still asleep, or Macbeth, I should say, is still asleep, and he's having a dream, or is he awake? And the floor is covered. He's sinking into the floor. Like, this is a smart way to do this.
A Scrooge thing. Or no, the one where the ghosts
Yeah,
visit.
Christmas
Yeah,
Carol.
Scrooge is supposed to be Christmas Carol.
Yeah, but same
Jesus.
thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Ghosts
Like,
of Christmas Past. It's a
is it a
vision.
dream?
But
or
I
is
just,
it
I really, I thought it was a great movie. That its second half is far superior to its first half. It feels kind of like everybody's finding their footing for the first little bit of it.
I thought that they made it very deliberately the way that they wanted to make it, exactly like high marks and stuff. But it's like, it just made me realize how fed up I am with Hollywood adaptations in general of which this is the latest and acknowledges its history as in a long line of Macbeth adaptations.
What I liked about this one, though, was it wasn't stylized. It was stylized, but it wasn't Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, 4.5 fucking hours long, going over the top with the CG.
Mm-hmm.
It was it only had one CG shot in the whole movie.
With the birds?
The birds at the end, yeah. Like it
Or
was
also
very contained.
Denzel Washington being decapitated.
Yeah,
I don't think
they
did
killed
that.
him in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denzel
Never seen
said
again.
the
This is the last movie he's
stuntman
ever
said it
doing.
was too dangerous, but Denzel insisted on
He's like,
doing
Sidney
it for
Poitier
real.
died. I'm killing myself.
We swear it was COVID.
You can see the COVID come out of his blood when his head went flying off the beach, off the tower. But no, I enjoyed it.
I can see why I was partway through and I'm like, I can see why the brother Ethan Coen wanted out of this. 100%. He's like, I just had no interest. It wasn't something that interested me. Nothing
It
funny.
made me think of previous Coen Brothers movies, and every Coen Brothers movie, even the shitty ones like
Hail
Intolerable
Caesar.
Cruelty. I thought Hail Caesar was okay. No, that terrible one with fucking
The
Catherine
Hudsucker
Zeta-
Proxy?
That's a wonderful movie, Hudsucker Proxy.
I haven't seen it. So
No,
I'm just saying.
I think it's
Yeah,
called Intolerable
Intolerable,
Cruelty.
yeah.
That movie fucking bites. And they said, they're like, yeah, they were trying something, it didn't work. But
Screwball
when you
comedy.
think of like Fargo and you think of Blood Simple and
Barton Fink.
Barton Fink, great example. There's an element of kind of cruelty and meanness to their movies. I think that meanness comes from Ethan Coen.
Not
I think
Joel, who
No.
directed this?
no, because it's a cruel story with cruel people, right? Macbeth goes insane because he's driven to madness to killing Duncan, and then he's like, "Fuck Macduff, I'm going to kill his wife."
So you're
I'm gonna kill
saying
everyone."
it was intolerable that there was no cruelty?
It kind of was, and I feel like Ethan is the one that brings the real teeth to their scripts. And that's kind of why he wasn't part of this one. He's like, if we can't give them more teeth and you want to do it exactly like the play, that's fine. You go ahead and do it, but that's not for me.
I think Ethan brings the comedy, the lightness, the just the overall is their comic voice.
Maybe.
Because that's the only thing that I can gather of them not saying. Also, a lot of stuff happens like, and it's because it's a play. It's like one at a time. I actually kind of. I did not like this, and I really wanted to, and it was the same with the Macbeth that Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard did, where I
I don't
realized
want to
that
see her as Lady Macbeth.
Marion Cotillard and Michael Fassbender were better than Washington and McDormand here. And
Do you think you just don't like the story at the end of the day?
it's my favorite of Shakespeare's story. It's where the most stuff happens. The trajectory is clear. The goals are clear. Survive and thrive. I like so many decisions that they made.
So it just doesn't hold up to what you want it to be?
Yes, I just wanted them to be more influential. Like I wanted modern speak the same as you did, and I thought that they were going to do that by virtue of being such accomplished actors that they could thread that line, and they didn't. I love the production design. I like the music. I like the cinematography.
Yeah, music was great.
Not a fan of the pacing, even though I was so glad that it was only 100 minutes long. I was so pleased at that. I love this, like the action scenes at the end are cool, and I'm like, oh, why don't they do more action scenes? Because this is so bloody brilliant.
I think at the end of the day, you're right. Like they pushed out a whole like group of potential viewers because of how they're speaking.
Yeah, the vision.
But they're at the stage where like, and they've always ever. Any filmmaker will tell you you're making something for an audience of one, which is you. So I don't think they needed to prove anything to anyone at this point. And, it's like, hey, the Coen brothers or one of them is doing a movie you want in. Of course, A24 is going to scoop that up, and Apple is like, we need content, so they're going to do that.
I think
100%.
at this point they should just get Peter Jackson to do a Macbeth.
That way it can be
600 hours long, have so much fucking CG, you can't even see straight by the end of it. But no, I liked it. I was okay with the old-fashioned speaking, especially if the actors can emote the emotion you're supposed to be having while saying this line. And that was a problem where when he was talking about betraying Duncan and murdering Duncan, he was like, yeah, I don't know if I should go ahead and murder Duncan.
This guy was good, though.
Yeah, as Ross.
The Jude Law-looking motherfucker.
Yeah, as Ross.
Yeah.
He's the cousin of Macduff. Technically, they're all cousins, but whatever.
Yeah,
but,
that's what bothers me. I've never seen, like, it's a fucking Scottish play, and it works brilliantly here as, like, because I thought this was going to be a more weird, less straightforward adaptation. I know it makes a lot of changes, but I've still never seen. It made me think that I need to do Shakespeare or something like that, not as an actor because I've actually acted in Shakespeare before.
It didn't make a lot of changes.
But I haven't seen my vision, even when I see the pictures of Hamlet, of like what I think Shakespeare would be. I have not seen that vision of Shakespeare, which is almost like Game of Thrones-ish.
The only change they make that is a significant different from the story, and I was like, that doesn't make sense, is so remember, well, Phil might not, nope. But do you remember the three witches say, yes, you are the king of
but there is
glamorous, you will be king, and then when Banquo says, what about me? They're like, you will never be a king, but your seed will be king. And he's like, well, that's fucked up. And he realizes, okay, that means my son Fleance is going to be king, and I won't be.
Isn't it Fleance?
Fleance, yeah. And but the point is, that means that he's going to have to kill, or somebody, it means his friend, Macbeth, will die. Mm-hmm. And when Macbeth sends the two sellsword guys out to kill Banquo, Ross shows up. Mm-hmm. And there's that scene where they grab Banquo, Ross runs away, or not Ross, sorry, Fleance runs away. They cut Banquo's throat, and Banquo drops, and Fleance has run away, and he's hiding in the grass. But Ross comes over and looks down on him and is like,
And that is when he sees his son, or his seed.
And that's when he's like, okay, you understand that Ross helped Fleance effectively escape, but that never happens. In every episode of the play I've ever seen, Fleance runs.
Yeah, he flees.
And you effectively just know that, okay, and that's one of the things that drives Macbeth mad. He's like, I know that Banquo was murdered, but I don't know that his son was. So clearly, but he says it effectively. The line is like, it's nothing I need to worry about for right now, so fuck it, I'll deal with it when it comes. But it's like one of the things that eats at him and kills him, right? And makes him go mad. But the part where Ross looks at Fleance, I'm like, this shouldn't be here. That was the one big change that they made that I was like, that I don't agree with that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But then they effectively bring it to the back at the end where Ross is paid that I think he was a priest who was in that house that fallen down, paid him to look after Flans and whatnot. I'm like, I don't like that.
So, like,
I don't like Shakespeare. He can't write. Fuck him.
I agree.
If only Zack Snyder would have written this fucking play.
Zack Snyder would do wonders with this sort of material, but he would never touch it because he's not interested in it. Like,
Zack
it's kind of
Snyder,
funny.
He'd be too busy getting the muscles of Denzel and just doing slow motion.
Can you imagine?
But it's
his
funny because
Macbeth?
Zack Snyder would be perfect because those characters aren't even necessarily human.
Zack Snyder would be perfect.
As long as he doesn't do a fucking comedy. You better not do
I
Midsummer.
just think of the Wonder Women, the Amazons,
Yeah.
while they're killing
Amazon,
themselves, pretty much.
You know what?
They're
No,
just
no offense,
getting
but
the things.
Zack Snyder can stick to doing whatever movies he wants. I'm never going to see them because that guy is just
Yeah,
a
unless I
joke.
tell you to.
That guy's a fucking joke of a filmmaker. I still can't believe that there's people that prefer that Zack Snyder Justice League. But whatever, man. To each your own.
It's interesting because now there's a ton of people that will watch something proudly, even if it's not good.
Yep.
Like Star Wars.
I thought Snyder Cut was good
Junk.
overall,
Or
and better
Snyder Cut.
than the original, which was shit.
This is why you guys will see that all of my predictions for the Oscars, which I have not formally written down but tweeted out, are all going to be exact come tomorrow morning when the Oscar nominations are announced.
Is that coming? I see. That's how much.
8
I think,
a.m.
I think the last time I paid attention to the Oscars was when Return of the King won. And I was like, oh, great. Something that deserves it. Not the Return of the King
So,
deserved it,
like,
but
what
the
if-
Lord of the Rings series
We should
deserved
look-
it. and I
So
haven't
if
watched
Dune
ever
gets
since.
nominated, are you going to watch?
No. I don't care. I totally agree with guys like Marlon Brando when it comes to awards. This is a huge jack-off session, or Ricky Gervais said it as well, too, just not as eloquently. This is a huge jerk-off session for ourselves.
Which
We
is
get to come into a
hilarious
room
because
and
we
love
all know
ourselves.
Marlon Brando was so into that though.
But
But it's also promotion for.
yeah, it's
these
very
movies.
fake. It's so fucking phony. You know, that's why I love Jim Carrey showed up at some award. He's like, "What the fuck is this award?" He goes, "Who cares? This is so stupid." And I kind of came to that with. And I understand why they exist, but I have no interest to watch these guys jack each other off for like
It's
4.5
fine
hours.
for like those independent guys that don't think they're ever gonna get something and they get this huge award. That's great.
Yeah, and that changes the course of their career. And I like both the acknowledgement of shows when they are, or movies when they are good, and I agree with them that
when
they're
they
good.
deserve it, yeah.
And they get recognized and rewarded. We still should have a stunt category at the
Like,
Oscars.
don't look up.
I'd rather watch the fucking Razzies. I wish.
Yeah.
Did you
that-
see the nominations?
Yeah, I love that there's a
I-
Bruce Willis category.
I watch the
now.
Yeah.
video game awards every year.
The video game awards are okay, but
'Cause
they're
it's just
equally
constant
now.
promotion.
But they're equally about future
Isn't-
ones.
I
The
know,
Dice
I think-
Awards
Isn't
are on now.
E3? Isn't that a?
See E3. Okay,
E3 is the preview show, and then this is kind of functions as like a winner E3 where they.
That's not an award show.
No, it
not
is an
really.
award show, but half of it is just trailers for upcoming
sounds too
exclusives.
confusing.
Yeah, most of it's just announcements for upcoming. movies.
I watched
Sure.
Nintendo's E3, and my wife was
Treehouse?
over the moon, excited. Yeah, that's right. Overexcited that we saw, I think, a minute of Zelda 2 footage. That was about it.
Did
It's the
you
whole
see
reason
that
we
they
watched it.
outsold the Nintendo Wii now?
Oh, have they really? Oh no, I didn't know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
they just did-
Anyway, Macbeth.
Yeah,
I
to tell you-
enjoyed it. Definitely watch it. It's a one-time watch, but
I'm not big.
It's good.
I'm not big on doing the ratings anymore, but
Don't-
I want to know, like, what would you rate it out of 10?
if I had to rate it out of 10, it's definitely not my favorite Coen movie. It's not my favorite version of a Shakespeare story. That goes to I can't remember the director's name, but Mel Gibson's Hamlet, which was wonderfully done. I put this one at like maybe a 6.5. No, 7, probably 7. about you?
Thumbs down. Don't recommend. A lot of cool stuff in it, but if you don't like Shakespeare, stay away. It's hard to listen to, although there's so many iconic lines, and it laid the groundwork. I wanted to see a more current adaptation of it, so I didn't
Yes,
get what I'm
thank
looking
you.
for.
The next one they do, they should do King Lear.
I- if I
I'd
went
give
to
it a
the-
4.
If I went to the theater to watch this, I would walk out. Just because my personal.
I would
enjoyment
never go
not-
see a 4-3 movie in
Yeah.
theaters. Or a
There's
4-3
only that's not
watch
I
true.
think it depends.
The only 4-3 movie I went to see in the theaters, it didn't have to be 4-3, but it certainly added to the uncomfortability of it was the Robert Eggers movie, The Lighthouse.
Well,
Fucking wonderful,
Was it
man.
Snyder Cut that was in
I could
4K?
not stand
Yeah,
it.
4:3. Yeah.
I walked out of that movie like you
Oh,
walked out of
loved it.
Tragedy of Macbeth. Fuck that.
Fucking love Robert Eggers.
I will say it again. I walked out of Master of Disguise,
That's a bad movie, though.
but I watched Bloodwork.
I was young enough to watch Master of Disguise on DVD and think it was funny while also realizing how terrible it was.
How about you watch
I
it
still
now?
quote it today. No, we still quote it today. Gotta dance.
I think the fact that you don't like Robert Eggers but like Zack Snyder says enough about your
Taste.
your film taste.
Watch, and complain. Well, that was 2 watches in a row. Comment wherever you see this. Please just talk to us. We're
Don't say the
lonely.
name of the drink.
Fago?
You said
We're going to hell.
There's
You know who's
nothing
in
wrong
hell?
with it. Bill Cosby.